So we are calling Dana White right now.
Hello.
Dana, how are you, man?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
Good. So we got Dana White on the podcast, the UFC president. First of all, thanks for doing my podcast, and thank you for the countless hours of entertainment you have helped provide. I don't even know what my life was like.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no worries, man. It's awesome. I don't even remember my life before the UFC. That's how much I just love watching MMA. It's a different...
Hey, me neither. Me neither.
So how has life changed? Like, because I remember before the WME merger, you know, it was you and the Fertitta brothers, and you kind of had like this like triangle of ideas, and then they went on somewhere else. WME came in. How has life gotten much harder since then on you? More pressure?
No, it's been great, man. I mean, Ari Emanuel and I have been friends for a long time, like 10 years. Yeah, we work well together, man. Obviously, if you look at what's going on around here, we've been doing pretty good together.
No, yeah, you've been killing it. You've been absolutely killing it. By the way, that fight last week, that main event was insane. I mean, how much heart does Whitaker have?
So good. I mean, these guys are both so tough, and yeah, a great fight.
I mean, so many guys, I think, you get hit by Yoel Romero, and it's over. I mean, but that dude, it looked like he was almost out on his feet, but was just all on instinct, kept going.
It's insane that fight. Andy broke his hand in the third round. Whitaker had a broken hand and, you know, fought the entire fight, the rest of the fight with a broken hand against a beast like Romero. And Romero, too. Romero got hit with some big shots and kept coming forward, and you know, it was a great fight.
Yeah, no.
Those two match up very well.
It was awesome. And then the Colby fight was pretty damn cool, too. Colby Covington versus RDA. I think, you know, he just laid the groundwork on how to beat a guy like RDA, which is just nonstop grinding, nonstop wrestling. Now, I talked to Colby. He says he wants to fight Woodley in MSG in November. Is that what you think is that what you think is gonna happen?
I have no idea what's gonna happen with that fight yet. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I mean, it's gonna be awesome because like those. I mean, supposedly they like trained before, and Colby said he made Woodley quit in practice, and Woodley says that never happened, and it's just crazy. But yeah, I mean, there's so many good fights. The Stipe Cormier fight is gonna be, that's the one I'm looking forward to the most because I just keep going back and forth with it.
That whole card is sick. It's International Fight Week, and the whole card is sick. That's going to be a fun weekend. Fun week.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I got shows all week, by the way, at the Stratosphere. If you want to come, I know you came to my show a couple years ago. It was awesome having you there. Zuffa Boxing, how far along are we with Zuffa Boxing?
Well, let me say this first. Yeah, it was great going to your show too. You were hilarious.
Oh, thank you.
It that night.
Thank you, brother.
I tell the story all the time where you were telling some kind of raunchy joke or something. You had some raunchy joke, and these two old people that were in there. I don't even know if you remember this, but these two old people get up and start walking out, and. He said, hey, we just said something like, where you guys going? The guy yells out, you suck. And the old guy yells out, you suck. And you go, oh, Mom and Dad, I'll see you guys. It was your timing was incredible. It was fucking hilarious. I think about that all the time. It was so goddamn funny.
It's exactly what happened. And I remember doing comedy with you at the Laugh Factory, and I'd never seen you nervous before, and you were sweating.
No, that wasn't nervous. That was beyond fucking nervous. That was like a next level of nervous. I don't know if I've ever been that nervous in my life.
No, I
literally never want to try that ever again. It was that's some crazy shit, man. Listen, I don't give a shit about getting up and speaking in front of people, but getting up and making people laugh. You know, lots of different people think different things are funny than other people, and it's a very hard thing to do.
No, because I was trying to console you. Yeah,
fucking brutal.
I was trying to console you. You were like, "Can you give me a minute, please?" I was like, "Holy shit!" Like you were. I've never seen.
Yeah, I didn't want anybody talking to me. I didn't want anybody near me. You know, normally when we're shooting, looking for a fight, we're having a blast. we're hanging out and whatever. I don't give a shit. Man, I was next level. It was the greatest thing when I was done with it and get that off my fucking back, man. But that's what we do. I'm looking for a fight. We do shit that makes us uncomfortable. We do shit that we necessarily wouldn't do, and normally.
Well, you did it, and you killed. You had a great set, but I mean, how nervous were you when you had to speak at the Republican National Convention? Was it the same thing?
Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. Not even at all. I was hanging out in the back. We had a blast. It was a good time. When it was my turn to speak, I went out there, spoke, and then I went home. It was a piece of cake.
Wow.
Doing stand-up comedy is the fucking worst fucking feeling I've ever had in my life. It was brutal.
Wow, that's insane. Because I would that's crazy to me that you let the RNC. Now, I mean, did you ever think of yourself back in the day though, like when you were 18, 19, working at the gym, that you'd be talking at the Republican National Convention?
No, no, I did not.
I mean that must have been insane. So Zuffa Boxing, there was a rumor going around that you offered not Wilder, Anthony Joshua $500 million to sign with Zuffa Boxing. Was that true?
It's not true. Me and Joshua spoke on the phone. We never got together. We never did any of that shit. He's under contract with Eddie Hearn, and his contract was coming up. And I said, listen, I'd like to talk to you guys. And he made it very clear to me that he wasn't going to leave Eddie. He wanted to stay with Eddie. And I said, yeah, well, I'm not looking for you to leave Eddie. I think we can all work together. And, I think we can do a lot for you here in the United States. So I think we get together and figure out how to work as a team. Then, I think Eddie Hearn, Eddie Hearn hasn't been in the business that long. I think Eddie Hearn was very oversensitive about, the thought that, Anthony Joshua and I would even talk, you know what I mean? And took it very, I don't know, was almost insulted by it, and that really wasn't the conversation we had or the intent.
Okay, so he goes out, or someone goes out and spreads that rumor that it's
whoever started that's absolutely not true. But listen, if you're Anthony Joshua, they know that we have money. They know that what we're capable of doing, and not a bad thing for Anthony Joshua for it to be in all the newspapers and all over the internet that I made a $500 million offer.
Yeah, of course, and then like your background also is in boxing, so it's not like you just coming in out of like nowhere. I mean, you started right as a boxing coach. Now, there was another rumor going around this week that you're really trying to make Brock Lesnar versus John Jones happen.
Yeah, that rumor's not true. First of all, yes, I know they both want to fight, and I would make that fight. But first of all, John's still in trouble, and second of all, Brock Lesnar isn't even in these. If you're in the USADA pool, it takes 6 months before you can fight again. So that's a rumor. It's not true.
Okay, got it. Well, I'm happy you're clearing this up. Now, how hard is it for you, Dana? Because I know you're a great promoter, but you're also you're a lot more than that. You're kind of, in a lot of ways, you're kind of a babysitter. And how hard is it for you sometimes to have to take a step back? Like, for example, like with the Conor McGregor bus incident, right? You get into Madison Square Garden, biggest fight ever. Everything's gonna happen, and next thing I know, this amazing superstar athlete goes crazy, starts tossing dollies at buses. I mean, what goes through your head when that happens?
Yeah, that was a bad day. That was a very bad day. We have a lot of bad days around here where bad shit happens, but that was right up there with the worst. Now,
do you call Conor and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Or do you have to kind of just let everyone else take it?
Yeah, no. So we, I did the interview with the media. I came back to the arena. I had just left the arena. I was literally half a block down the street when Reed Harris called me, freaking out that Conor was attacking the bus. So, I didn't understand exactly what was going on or what had happened, and I knew it was over. So I went to the hotel, and waited for the fighters to come back from the hotel. But they had to stay there because the police were called. So the police were coming. So then I left the hotel and drove back to the arena. And that's when the press was still there, and I talked to the press, and and Conor and I didn't talk until I think until Conor had gotten out of jail. I think that's the first time we talked.
Now, is it like talking? I mean, is it talking to you like your son, your child, or you're saying, "Hey, listen, Betty, you got the whole world ahead of you. Come on, man. Like, what are you doing?"
No, I mean, Conor is a guy that I've obviously been behind since day one. He's a kid that I have tremendous respect for as a fighter and as a person. And we've always had this really good working relationship. But for him to come to one of our events at the arena and do what he did was as bad as it gets.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I was like, I remember texting you, like, "Hey, man, sorry you had a bad day." You texted back a gun emoji to like your head, like fucking. Yeah. I was like, I'm like, oh man. And then I said, like, even John Jones thinks that McGregor needs to put it together. And like normally I get like an LOL from you, and I got nothing. And I'm like, I feel like I'm bombing in my own text messages right now. This is not good. Comedy is tragedy plus time. Let's give this some time. So yeah, but that's why it's got to be so hard, because MMA is you attract such a great athlete, but you also attract some people that are just out there, and for you to have to kind of rein them all in, that's got to be brutal. It's got to be brutal.
Yeah, no, we got a lot of people under contract here, over 500 fighters under contract, and that doesn't include all the employees I have here. So things are always happening. Somebody has personal problems or something. Every day we deal with this stuff from on both sides, fighters and employees.
Is it ever tempting to just buy an island and be like, you know what, I got the money, I can go get an island, live there, happily ever after, and is that ever a temptation you have?
No, never. Retirement not even close. I love this. This is what I do, man. And if I do go on vacation, after like 4 days, I'm chomping at the bit to get back to work. So yeah, no, I'm good.
Did you watch the bare knuckle boxing event that went on in Wyoming?
I did not. Was it good?
It was brutal. It was good, but Rowdy Beck kicked some ass. She did really good, and then
who did?
Rowdy Beck. Rowdy Beck did really good. I think she found her calling in life. It's brutal.
Really?
Yeah, it's brutal. I mean, they have bare knuckles, and Joey Beltran fought. That was a really good fight against Tony Diaz. I think they're onto something. It's only legal in Wyoming, but it's very entertaining, and a lot of MMA guys are going over to it. So
interesting.
I don't know. It's definitely insane. Now I got to ask you, Ben Askren, right? I'm obviously a big wrestling fan. I'm a huge fan of Ben Askren, 17-0, two-time national champion. He says he went over to you guys. You said win some fights in the WSOF, and then we'll put you in like the UFC. Is that what happened?
I don't even remember. To be honest with you, I don't even remember.
But now, is that a guy though is that a guy that you would still allow to come back and compete in the UFC?
He's under contract. He's under contract with ONE FC. He can't go anywhere and do anything.
Right. Because there's a guy that I would love to see how he would match up against some of the best 170 pounders.
Yeah. Because definitely. But he can't. He's under contract with those guys. So.
Because he's such a good wrestler, but yeah, that makes sense. Now, Khabib versus Conor in Russia. Is that what? Are we close?
No, that's not happening in Russia.
Why not?
Yeah, that's not happening in Russia. Because that's going to happen in Las Vegas.
That would be awesome. That's the fight that I can't wait to see. It's a tough fight because if it goes past 3 rounds, I got to give it to Khabib. But Conor has that.
Are you going to fly to Russia to see that fight and buy a ticket?
100. If you get me front row tickets, it'll be me and Yakov Smirnov. I will 100% go to Russia. Are you absolutely? Are you crazy? 100%. There's so many fights I want to see. Nate Diaz. I mean, personally, here's my dream. I want Nate Diaz to come back. He's one of my favorites. I don't know why he's not still fighting. I mean, that's obviously all on Nate Diaz. I can't wait to see obviously Woodley versus Colby, and I want to see what happens with Stipe. But you're right. That whole card, top to bottom, of UFC 226 is insane. It's absolutely insane.
Who do you want to see Nate Diaz fight?
Who do I want to see? I want to see Nate Diaz fight at Ben Askren, if you can get him on. What? Fucking Nate Diaz. I want to see him fight Kevin Lee.
Where are you going to fly to see that one? Fantasy Island?
Yeah, exactly. Fantasy Island. Me and Nick the Tooth. And I want to see Nate Diaz. I want to see Nate Diaz fight Kevin Lee. I think that would be a good fight.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
And yes, I agree with you on the 7th too. You got Miocic Cormier. You got Holloway Ortega. Francis Ngannou versus Derek Lewis.
Yeah.
Chiesa versus Pettis, the fight that was supposed to happen in New York. Saki versus Roundtree, which would be a fucking insane. And we call this kid Baby Vitor, but Costa versus Uriah Hall.
Oh yeah.
Yancy Medeiros versus Mike Perry.
Oh, that's going to be insane. I love Yancy. He's such a nice guy, but he doesn't necessarily.
We got Asunciao versus Font.
Yep. Also a great fight. Awesome. Now, what do you think about De La Hoya signing Chuck to fight Tito?
Yeah. Hey, those guys want to fight. Listen, I pray that Chuck doesn't fight again. I hope that doesn't happen. But yeah. Listen, whoever he signs with, if those guys fight, I just hope that Chuck makes a shitload of money, man. I just hope he never fights again, man. And I would hope that the people close to him would think like I do too.
I mean, you were his first manager, right?
Yeah.
Now,
I don't know if I was his first manager, but I was his manager.
Now, Phil Baroni keeps telling us that he knocked down Chuck in sparring, and you were there.
That's not true. He didn't knock Chuck down. He didn't knock Chuck down. Phil sparred with Chuck. It's on the internet.
Yeah.
You can go on the internet and watch it.
But he says but Phil says that he should sign with Zuffa Boxing. You guys would give him a chance, right, Baroni?
Baroni?
Yeah.
Listen, I have a long history and a relationship with Baroni, and as crazy as Baroni is, you know what I mean? What a madman he is. I've actually had a good working relationship with Phil. We've had a couple of moments, but other than that, but I think Phil is somebody who should retire too.
Yeah. No, he fought 2 weeks ago. He won in 10 seconds in King of the Cage.
Did he really?
Yeah, he fought King.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, in San Diego, he won in 10 seconds in King of the Cage.
Maybe I'm wrong then. Maybe Phil should be fighting.
Now, who's the guy that you'd like that surprised you? A guy that you were like, man, I don't really see it. And then 3 years later, the guy was a world beater. Who was one of your biggest surprises?
One of my biggest surprises. I don't know if there's ever really been a big surprise. I mean, if there was a guy that we saw that looked talented, and they made it all the way, we kind of expected it. Off the top of my head, I can't really think of anybody who blew me away, and I was like, oh wow, we didn't see that coming.
Yeah. I mean, a guy like Clay Guida or something, who you're like, oh, okay, he's good, but then all of a sudden he just achieves, he like beats guys that you didn't think he was going to beat on paper. One of the funniest.
That happens all the time. I mean, there's guys that fight that you think will never be beaten. They end up getting beat. It's just when you've been in this sport long enough that there's no surprises. I mean, anything is possible in this sport.
Yeah, that's what makes such a great sport. One of my favorite stories you told me, we can edit this out, by the way, if you want to tell us, was when you went to court because two guys masturbated on The Ultimate Fighter and like someone's sushi, and then you had to tell the judge, that it wasn't real jizz or something.
No, it wasn't in court. We had to go before the Nevada State Athletic Commission.
But what?
I don't think we went in there and said it wasn't real. We just went in there and took our whooping and said it would never happen again.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you guys were saying that it was like, it was actually glue or something, or it wasn't actually. No.
No, I don't think it was glue.
Got it. Now, have you thought about producing comedy specials? And if so, can you produce mine and it will air it on Fight Pass? Has that ever?
Yeah, we did one of Joe Rogan's specials.
Oh, nice.
We might have done a couple of Joe Rogan specials. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we produced comedy before.
Well, let's do it. I'm in. What's the submission process?
You ready?
I'm ready. I've been doing this 21 fucking years. Yes, of course I'm ready. Come on, man. Put me in. I'm totally ready. You produce it. Let's do it. It'll be Dana White produces the Adam Hunter comedy special. I'm in. Are you in?
We'll talk about it.
Oh, that would be amazing. Also, I got a baby coming in 5 weeks. I got a baby girl coming. Any advice on parenting?
Yeah, well, my advice is you better start pumping out comedy specials quick. Babies aren't cheap.
That's true. How many kids do you have?
I have 3. I have 2 boys and a girl.
All right, so being a parent to a girl, help me. What are things I should look out for? Give me some good advice.
No, it's the best. So in the beginning, they're all about mommy, 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 and you know, you feel like the outsider. But then as they get older, it turns into it's all about daddy, and it's the fucking best. And it just gets better and better every year.
Nice. How old are your kids now?
So my oldest son just turned 17. We just had his birthday last weekend. My younger son turned 16 in July, and my daughter is 12.
Wow. Now, how do they deal with you traveling all the time?
They're used to it. It's been that way their whole life. They're totally used to it. They're used to the whole lifestyle. My kids have really, really adapted well to my life and, you know, all that stuff. They're very, very cool.
Well, didn't like one time they wanted to have like a white Christmas, so you had snow flown in from like Alaska or something?
No, they didn't want to have a white Christmas. They you know, they didn't get to, I grew up back in Boston when I was younger, and they you know, you got to experience snow and sledding and all that shit. So yeah, I had snow brought in and built a huge mound that they could sled on. I do all kinds of crazy shits for my kids. You see the fucking birthday parties I've been throwing for my kids since they were babies, and the fucking birthday parties, you know, trips we take them on, you know, cool things that they get to do. Always.
Yeah, no, one of the coolest things also, I went to high school in Maine. I went to a boarding school called the Hyde School in Bath, Maine. You're from Maine, and you told me that you grew up pretty poor, so when you got rich, you actually bought the whole block for your family?
No. So my grandparents lived up there, and I got a bunch of cousins and stuff. And my grandmother lived in a trailer on a piece of property that she paid rent on. And I bought the whole street. I didn't buy the block. I bought the whole street, literally the whole street.
They must have loved it. I mean, they must have been in heaven.
Yeah, it's where we go all the time, and I built this crazy, you know, fun place with all the toys up there, and we go there, you know, as much as we can until it snows. I don't go near that place when it snows, but until it snows, we go up there. I'm going there for the 4th of July again, and I was just there a few weeks ago, and I'll go as many times as I can this summer.
That's awesome. And I gotta ask you. So I was a big Kevin Randleman fan. I'm a big Jens Pulver fan. I think both those guys should be in the Hall of Fame. No?
No, I agree. Yeah, they should, and they will be someday.
Oh, that'll be awesome. Good. Yeah, those guys are. You know, my favorite people to interview are always the old timers. Like we had Don Fry on earlier, and just
he's awesome.
Those guys are my favorite because those guys fought just for honor. You know, it wasn't about the money. It wasn't about the sex or this or that. It was just because they were tough and they wanted to prove it. And those are always my favorite guys. I had Mark Kerr on the podcast recently, and that was pretty awesome too.
They had to fight friggin' 10 times a night to win $50,000.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my favorite stories is Gary Goodridge told me he went to Brazil. They told him no rules. You go to a fight, no rules. And then he gets there. They're like, oh, there's a couple rules. He was really angry about that. So during the fight, he removed the guy's cup, grabbed his balls, and squeezed as hard as he could, and the guy tapped. And he's like, and then everyone got really mad at him, started throwing shit at him. But he's like, you said no rules. Like, those are
that's crazy.
Some of the craziest stories I've ever. And then Henzo.
Hey, you really gotta want to win to grab another guy's ball.
Fuck. Hell, no rules is no rules. Fucking, and then Henzo.
I'm always looking for guys with that killer instinct, man. He's got it.
Yeah, and then Henzo Gracie is another guy who told me he was one time in a fight, and it was in Brazil, and his back was against the cage, and he got stabbed during the fight from somebody that came, and he continued to fight and won the fight after getting stabbed in the middle of a fight. I mean, those guys.
That's fucking crazy. Now, listen, man. I'm telling you right now. I've spent some time with him, and in Abu Dhabi, you know, Sheikh Mohammed and Sheikh Taknoon were investors in the UFC, and me and Lorenzo would go out there, and Frank, and spend time with these guys. The best, incredible guys. These guys. Spend time with them, and they always have their friends around, and he is very, very good friends with Henzo Gracie. Very good friends. So pretty much every time I went out there, Henzo would be there. And the stories that Taknoon would tell about Henzo too. Some crazy horse race. Ask him about the horse race that Taknoon got him in Abu Dhabi. It's crazy. But basically, you know, Sheikh Taknoon was telling me that he's one of the toughest guys he's ever met in his life.
No, weren't you worried that one time in UFC Abu Dhabi when it was Anderson Silva versus Maia, I think the main event, right? And everyone was booing. Were you guys worried for your lives? Like this is going to be really bad?
No, it's not like that. It's not like that over there. That's all American bullshit. It's awesome over there.
Now,
I mean, you ask Henzo Gracie, that guy's over there every weekend.
Yeah.
You know, he ain't over there because it sucks. He's over there because it's awesome.
He was telling me that. Yeah.
The way those people treat you when you're over there is phenomenal.
He was telling me he was at a concert with his daughter, and some guy kept trying to buy beers for his daughter, who was like 15, and he was like, "Leave me alone." The guy's like, "Shut up, old man." So he waited for the guy in the bathroom at the concert, choked him out, and put his head in the toilet. So.
Yeah, no, he don't play, man. He's getting older now, but when he was young, he was a wild man.
Well, when was the last time you got into an actual fight?
Oh, Jesus. I think the last time it didn't get into an actual fist fight, but my last altercation was at the Wiggles.
Wait, the concert? The Wiggles concert?
Yeah, the Wiggles concert with my kids. Yeah. When they were little. I think that's the last time that actually.
Wait, we have to go back a little bit. Why did you get into a fight at the Wiggles concert?
Because so me and my wife and my kids were in the second row, and some assholes in the first row, right? So at the Wiggles, when they start singing, all the kids go up in front of the stage, and they can, stand the stage. They're all dancing and jumping around and shit. So my kids are up there. So my wife, who is Italian and fucking crazy about the kids, they can't go 2 feet by themselves. She goes up and she's sitting there. But there were other parents up in the front too. And this guy, I'm sitting there in my seats and I'm looking, I'm like, is that fucking guy yelling at my wife? I think that guy is yelling at my wife. So I walk over there and I go, what's going on? And my wife says, he's saying, go sit in your seats. Like we're in the fucking 8th row. He fuckface. We're in the second row. We're right behind you. You know what I mean? So then I get fucking pissed and I start getting into it with this guy. And guess what this guy does?
What?
What do you think this guy does? I start getting aggressive with him.
Works for Bellator? No,
he runs and gets security.
Ah, come on. Really?
So wait a minute. You were just here getting in my wife's face like a fucking tough guy.
Yeah.
I come walking over here and you fucking run to security?
Ah.
Yeah. That's
Come on.
the last real, like, holy shit, my husband's going to get in a fight incident that I had. Man, I'm 48 years old. I fight to get on a treadmill. I ain't going to fight anybody.
Yeah, but don't you have a boxing guy every day at noon that coaches you guys?
Yeah, we work out. I just when we built this new building, I built a gym here. Yeah, I got a badass little gym here. I work out every day. My friends come in, we work out together, and yeah, it's awesome.
But when you were going to fight Tito Ortiz, you actually weighed in, right? I mean, you were ready to fight him.
Yeah, we were going to fight. Yeah.
That would have been awesome.
He's the one that did it. He put it in the contract. He said when he signed the new contract, him and Lorenzo did the deal because he and I couldn't even be in the same room together. So him and Lorenzo did the deal, and Lorenzo called me and said he wants to put in the contract that he'll sign it if you'll box him in a 3-round boxing match. I go, fuck yes, done. Sign it.
And then I think Jenna told him this is probably not a good idea, right? You have nothing to win out of this?
I don't know who told him. Listen, they were calling, and they said, and they were talking to Craig Borsari.
Yes.
The head of production here said, we want to go, like Craig was my manager. He says, we want to go no headgear. I said, no problem, no headgear. We want to use 8-ounce gloves. No problem, we can use 8-ounce gloves. They kept throwing all these things at me like I was going to say no or something or say it's not happening. I agreed to everything they wanted.
Wow.
And then, we did the whole thing with Spike leading up to the fight, and then, 4 days before it was supposed to happen, Tito called and left a voicemail on my phone and said, I'm going to let you off the hook on this.
Oh, come on.
That's how it went down.
Wow. And you were sparring with, real heavyweight fighters, right? Like ranked guys.
Oh, I like the number 12 guy in the world in here sparring with me.
And how were you doing against him?
I was sparring. Listen to me. When that happened, I was 37 years old. 37. I got these 24 and 25-year-old bad motherfuckers coming every day and just beating the shit out of me. We were sparring every day. I got in the fucking best shape I've been in ever for that thing. And I remember every day sparring was at 4 o'clock. And I'd be in my office and I'd be like, oh my God, it's fucking 2 o'clock. Those guys are going to be here in 2 hours. Oh my God, they're going to be here in 30 minutes. And then I'd go down and spar with these guys.
That sucks because, you got beat up for no reason for months.
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did.
Now CM Punk, are we going to give him a third chance? What do you think?
No.
Yeah. I know.
I don't think he really wants a third chance. Hopefully after this last fight, the guy he's got balls, man, and he's got guts, and he went on the world stage and he gave it 2 shots, man. A lot of people want to talk shit about CM Punk. Get in there.
Yeah.
Come on over. Fight one of these guys. It's easy to sit in your fucking living room and talk shit. Come in here. This guy actually was a huge star at WWE, came over here and put it all on the line twice, man, in front of the whole world. Now, if people can't respect that, then you're a fucking idiot anyway.
No, nothing but respect for him. It did get kind of sad though at a certain point where you're like, man, why are you doing this? After maybe someone should have told him that was training with him, hey man, we're not ready.
You can't tell somebody though. You can't tell somebody don't do the thing that you want to do the most. That CM Punk wanted to be a UFC fighter. He wanted to come and he wanted to fight here. He wanted it so bad that he fucking dropped everything and focused on nothing but mixed martial arts. Did these if you talk to his team, next time you talk to Duke Rufus or Pettis or any of those guys, and talk about how this guy was driving back and forth from Chicago to their place and would drive for hours to come out and train, would train forever and would be they all ended up respecting him.
No, 100%.
And the guy went in there and put it all on the line.
100%. But I did text one of his coaches the first fight, right, the night before, and I said, how's he going to do tomorrow? And they wrote back, not good. So, right. I mean, But at the same time, you're right. You don't know much about Mike Jackson is 0-1. You're not putting him up against Diego Sanchez or some world beater. You're putting him up against a guy who's...
Tell me one guy who can walk into the UFC at 38 years old and compete after he's been training for fucking months.
Nobody. I mean, unless you're a very elite level wrestler, elite level boxer, elite level kickboxer, maybe. I mean, you're right. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
Yep.
You know, but
I'm saying just he wasn't any of those things. He was just a regular guy.
Well, he was also a
regular guy
WWE guy. I mean, those. Yeah, but WWE guys are very athletic, right? I mean, for the most part,
they're athletic, but it ain't the same thing.
No.
And the only reason that Brock Lesnar did as well as he did because he was a real wrestler. The guy actually came from collegiate wrestling, and he was one of the best.
Now, the whole thing with John Jones, like, I want to believe him because he's so good to the point where he was beating everybody off stuff. Why would he need to take stuff? Like, he was kicking everyone's butt before, you know, like, it wasn't like he was losing and then started taking steroids and then beating everybody. He was beating everyone off shit. So I have to give him the benefit of the doubt, but then to fail something twice, I mean, that's got to drive you crazy.
The whole John Jones thing drives me crazy. I mean, honestly, John Jones, the greatest of all time, the greatest to ever do it. And the thing that's really frustrating is imagine if this guy tried. Imagine if he tried even a little bit. How incredibly amazing this guy could have been. I mean, it's just he could have been the biggest star ever. God knows what he would have, you know, finished accomplishing in the light heavyweight. Then in the heavyweight division, maybe he'd have, you know, had a title defense at heavyweight that would never be broken. And the endorsements and the fucking, I mean, everything that guy could have been is unbelievable.
Yeah, 100%. Now, what advice would you give to some of these guys? Like, say a guy like Colby Covington was really not making that much noise. He was winning. He was a good fighter. Then he takes this whole kind of Republican, Trump, you know, angle, and it starts going, I'm going to the White House. People start to hate him and he becomes a villain, but at least they're talking about him. Now, is that something that you would endorse? Or do you think that that's sort of playing a WWE character? Or are you like, hey, at least people are talking about you? What's your thought on that?
I don't endorse anything. I don't ever tell guys how to act or what to say or any of that stuff. It's, you know, you are who you are. You know, some guys, you have a guy like, you know, I don't know, a good example, I guess, would be, let me think.
Like a Rick Story or something?
Stephen Thompson.
Stephen Thompson, okay.
Wonder Boy Thompson. Wonder Boy Thompson doesn't talk trash about anybody. You know, he goes in, he's a good-looking kid, clean cut, you know, and does his thing. Then you got guys that are like Conor McGregor, you know, that are loud and get in your face and all this stuff. Whoever you are, you are. And it's my job to promote you. I don't tell anybody to do anything. And I would never suggest to somebody they be somebody that they're not. You know, to go out and to be Colby Covington, you really got to be a little bit of that. You know what I mean? It takes a certain type of person that doesn't give a shit if he goes out and gets booed everywhere he goes. You actually create the boos. You make it happen when you walk out.
Do you ever tell guys to tone it down?
He went to Chicago and got on the mic and said, "Chicago sucks. Your pizza sucks. You know, all this stuff about Chicago sucks." And of course, you know, I mean, when you got a whole the whole arena in Chicago chanting "Colby sucks, Colby sucks" during the fight, you know.
No, but do you ever tell guys
being a bad guy?
Do you ever tell guys to calm down at all with that, or no?
No, not unless you like
a Miguel
throwing dollies through bus windows or something. I mean, unless you start doing something, you know, outrageous. No, we don't. Or, you know, if it starts to get physical in any way and things like that, that's shit we don't like. Because the athletic commission can come in and make life very, very difficult for everybody.
Right. Now, where do you see the UFC in 5 years from now?
We're going into all these different countries and that we've never been, going into new states that we've never been. You know, I'm going to continue this movement to grow the sport, throughout the world. And wait till you see. I mean, in 5 years, we'll be done with our ESPN deal, and you can imagine how big UFC will be in 5 years.
I can't wait. I mean, I'm telling you, I still coach middle school wrestling. I'm doing it 12 years, and I see it firsthand how that has grown. We used to get 10 kids, 15 kids. Now we got 40 kids, 45 kids, and it's all because of MMA and the UFC. They all look up to it. Like when I wrestled in college, I didn't see anywhere to go. I'm not going to make the Olympics. What am I doing? Now you got all these college wrestlers coming out and becoming mixed martial arts stars, and it's great. You've developed a professional league for people, and when women. I mean, I got all these girl wrestlers too. They look at, I want to be next Ronda Rousey, or they want to be the next Holly Holm, or they want to be the next Rose Namajunas. It's amazing. It's really, really cool, man.
It's true. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you for doing the podcast. Hopefully, I'll see you first week of July.
Awesome, buddy.
UFC
Congrats
fight.
on your baby and everything else, and I'll see you soon.
Dana, thank you, man. Take care.
All right, buddy. Bye.
Bye. All right. That was Dana White.